Hey everyone, welcome back. Today I'm talking about things that you should look out for when going to a salon if you haven't ever been to one. And I wasn't going to talk about this because it's sort of like a negative experience for me. But since I don't want anyone to go through that, I'm gonna talk about what to look out for. And especially, guys, like, in my opinion, you're paying them to get the result you want. And when they say, like, yes, I can do it, and then the results aren't there, at the end of the day, it's your hard-working money. Maybe you saved up just to get a certain look. Anyway, so the first tip that I would give you guys is check their website, check and see their work, check out their reviews other than Instagram, because that was my mistake. I went on her Instagram and I saw her work and it seemed amazing, and since I wanted to go really light on the bottom part of my hair and I saw that she had a lot of those results on her page, I thought, like, this is a good one. But now that I went through that experience, she did not know what she was doing, or at least from my experience, it didn't seem like she wanted to spend more product on my hair. Okay, so second tip. So before booking the first session, that, like, if you want to get highlights or if you want to get a balayage, make sure they do a test strand, because this girl that I went to didn't do a test strand. She just went straight to it. I guess to me, because I had a little bit of insight on what to expect, because my sister, she had done my hair before, she had lightened it before, and she would do a test strand first to see where my hair was at or what to expect with your hair, how much time and how much it could handle before it was like burned. So this girl didn't do any of that. She just went straight to it. So look out for that too. So tip number 3, if you're doubting the results in the first session, make sure you are communicating, like, to the point where it sort of seems like you are demanding, because I held back. I didn't want to be mean, and I tried telling her, like, am I gonna get the results in the second session? And she told me, like I mentioned, this is a lightening and coverage process, and I can do thicker strands the next time you come. So this was through Instagram. Like, we would chat through Instagram about my concerns. Make sure you are really clear with them what you want, and if you're not liking the process, make sure you speak up, because it's your money, like, and it's your hair. In my opinion, I sort of regret not being a little more pushy, just because I'm stuck with hair. I'm not saying it's bad, but it's not what I wanted, and I paid for something that I wanted and I didn't get. So tip number 4, I recommend you, if you see anybody, let's say you go to a store and you see someone with a similar hair to what you want, I would go and ask and see where they got their hair done, because I saw this girl. I know maybe you might be too shy to ask, but honestly, it's worth every penny. You don't want to risk going to someone that you don't know, like especially if you don't know the area, or if you're new, or if you moved to a different location, and you don't know any stylists or any like people that you can go to and ask to recommend. So I would totally recommend that. And honestly, people are so nice. Like, they're not gonna tell you, oh my god, like, why are you asking me? Like, they will tell you like, oh yes, like, you know, I recommend this person, like this is what I paid, or this is how many sessions it took her to do this type of hair. You will get a better insight if you go that route. I wish I would have done that before going to this girl. Also, make sure you can jot down whatever name or person they tell you, because that was my mistake. I didn't have my phone or like my purse, and I forgot the girl's name. But yeah, anyways, so those are the 4 tips, and hopefully these tips help you. I truly hope nobody goes through the experience I went through. It was bad for me. Anyways, if you guys are interested in hearing the story, keep watching. Okay, so here is the whole salon experience that I went through. So my husband was like, you know what, I want to treat you to a Mother's Day gift. I want you to go do your hair. You've never been to a salon before, so pick a salon and book an appointment. And you know, I was searching on Google Maps. I was looking at their websites, and I was looking at prices. There was a certain salon that I found that it seemed like their page was just on point, on top of their stylists, on what they knew how to do. Oh, that's another tip. So make sure they specialize. Say if you want a balayage, you go to someone that is specialized in the balayage, or highlights or color. So it seemed like they had everything together. Their Instagram was full of really pretty results, but every stylist had their own work and they specialized in different things. But when I called, they didn't have anything available until like 3 months after. And honestly, I didn't want to wait that long, so I decided to search for another person, and I found her and I booked an appointment with her. The first appointment was a consultation, and she wanted to know the history of my hair, if I had dyed it before, if I had bleached it before, if I had a lot of hair, or if my hair was thick. She said that it would take an hour to do a strand test, and that was included in the final amount. Also, another tip, I'm coming up with all these tips. She did not tell me that she charged for extra bleach bowls. I had to ask her, because I know that my sister mentioned that some charge for extra bowls. So I asked her, and she told me it would be $10 for extra bowls that she would use. So make sure to ask if they charge for extra bowls, because you don't want to be given an amount at the end of your session and you're like surprised. So that happened. And then also, she did not tell me it would take more than one session. I had to ask her because she was like, are you okay with your hair not lifting as much as you want it to, and it being warm? And so I asked her like, what? And I asked her, so if I want it lighter, do I have to come in for another session? And she told me, yeah, you'd have to come in for another session. And I had to ask her again, so is there a fee to that? Because like I mentioned, it was my first time being in a salon, so I had no idea like what was going on. And she told me, yeah, so it would be the same amount as your first session. And so I was like, oh, okay. And I was okay with it. So then that consultation was free, by the way. So I booked my session with her. And the day of the appointment comes, and I arrived there 10 minutes before, and I'm waiting. I messaged her saying I was outside already. And she called me. And when she called me, I was like, oh my goodness. Like, I had a feeling that it was bad news. And then she told me, good morning. You're Esme, right? And I was like, oh, she doesn't even remember who I am. Like, that just means she forgot she had an appointment. Like, anyways, she said she forgot, and she told me she could schedule me for the next day. But the thing is, like, I had, as a mom, you do so much to get that free time for yourself, and I just couldn't do it the next day. I had to wake up early to prepare to go and meet her there and to get my hair done. And then she just says she forgets and wants to book me the next day. And I was upset because I had to drive. I had to waste my gas, my time. It didn't seem like she cared. Yeah, that was my first experience with the first girl that I booked an appointment with. So then I decided I would look people up on Instagram and see their work. So the second girl, I found her on Instagram. Her work was great, and I decided to message her. And so I believe she replied back the next day. And she asked me to send her a picture of my current hair and the look that I wanted. So an inspiration photo. And so I did. And she told me, for sure I can get you there. And so I was like, oh my god, like, that's amazing. You know, I was really excited that I had finally found someone that I was excited to go to. I just got caught up in my feelings, in my excitement. And so I asked her like how many sessions. She told me it would be 1, but she didn't want to underestimate, so 2 would do it. And I asked her the pricing, if she charged for extra bowls. She told me no and gave me an amount. And I booked my appointment with her, and it was gonna be in 2 weeks. So when I got to my appointment, the girl just sat me, and then she asked me what look I wanted, and I showed her the picture, and she just looked at it for like 3 seconds or 2 and was like, oh, okay, it has contrast, it has a lot of contrast. And she was like in a hurry, it seemed. And so then she was feeling my hair, she was feeling my hair and she was like, oh wow, you have more hair than I expected and you have it really long. And I was like, yeah. And that sort of was like for me, I was like, is that like bad? Well, yeah, so she was doing my hair, she was grabbing sections and using like this comb to pull out like strands of the section. So she was like doing this, and I realized her strands were really thin. And I'll show you guys here the look that I wanted. And I sort of was like, okay, like, you know, she knows what she's doing, I'll just enjoy the experience. Like, I don't worry about it, it's all fine. I saw her work, and like I didn't want to be negative. So I was chit-chatting with her. I was mostly doing making the conversations, and I asked her what got her into doing hair. And she said that when she started, she couldn't even make a part with a comb. Am I gonna not get what I want? But like I mentioned, and I didn't want to be negative. I was thinking about her work, and I was like, you know what, like, it's fine. And I also asked her if she worked with a lot of dark hair, because my hair is like super dark, or it was darker, I guess. But she told me, yeah, like that's the majority of my clients, they have dark hair. So I was like, okay, you know, you're experienced. So then she finished my first session, and I didn't really see it because it was sort of dark in there, and also it was past the closing time. And I just like paid her and I left. Like, I thanked her, I told her it was nice, and I left. And then once I got to my house, I looked in the mirror, and it was like the little strands didn't make a huge difference at all. And I will link up a photo of the results of the first session here. But yeah, so I messaged her on Instagram. I told her that the photo had lighter hair at the bottom, and if I was gonna get that result. And she told me, like I mentioned, it's a lightening and coverage process. Okay, so the sun's going down, sorry about the lighting. Yeah, so I messaged her. I was like, hey, I just had a quick question. Is your balayage highlight different from a full highlight? So she had two options on her page, and I was wondering because of how thin the strands were when she took them out. And she was like, hey girl, they're the same thing. Balayage is a technique of highlight. The service list in the link is from when I had a studio in the past, so it needs updated. As mentioned before, this is a process. So I was like, oh, okay. I was just wondering because I thought I was just getting highlights. I was confused. Will the next session be the effect from the photo that I sent? I noticed my balayage has more dark hair at the bottom. So I was pretty clear that I wanted lighter hair at the bottom, and she told me, and with how dark your hair is, the technique used will be repeated as it's the best way to get you as light as possible per session. I did say yesterday new pieces will be added and some of the same strands will be grabbed. Going lighter is a process in terms of not only brightness but also coverage. Hope this helps. I also did ask if you liked the effect during the consultation because the inspo picture has some of that as well, but we can definitely do more foils to make it more solid at the bottom. I was like, okay, like she knows what she's doing. I'll go to my next session. And I did reply, okay, yes, that helps, thank you. It was just sort of hard to hear you from the noise yesterday, so I didn't fully understand some things that were said. But yes, I would love that. Again, thank you for your work. I can't wait for you to finish my look. So yeah, I went to my second session, and because I was running late because I'm a mom, I got there 8 minutes late, and she mentioned that she had another girl after me, so you know, I let her do the work. Let me turn on this other light, guys. Hold up. She was doing her work, you know, I was just relaxing. So then she washed my hair and she was gonna blow dry it and style it. And since I knew she had a client after me, I told her, like, don't worry about it, you don't have to style it. I know you have another client, and you know, I was late. And she was like, no, it's okay, we have time and I want to see the color. So then after she styled it and she saw my hair, so she spread it out and it looked nice. And I was like, oh, this is great, you know. But at the time, like, because everything happened so fast and because I felt like I was rushed, I just saw the results and I saw, you know, blonde. I was like, oh, this is great. And so I paid her, and I wanted to get out because I knew she had another client. So once I got home, I looked at my hair. Here, I'll show you guys. This is what happened. So she styled it like this, and you could just see all the blonde like at the bottom. So like, you know, I have a lot of blonde right here. So she went phew, and you can just see all the blonde. And I was like, oh, that's great, it looks pretty. But once I got home and I was like, okay, like, and I had time to look at the photo that I had wanted, it looked nothing like that look. Like, it's dark, it's light but not light enough like the photo. And this is what it looks like. Like, it doesn't look not anything like the photo. She pretty much just gave me a light layer on the inside and a money piece, which I believe the money piece, when you pull it back, it shows, and it's thick. So it's like a thick strand that is supposed to show when you do this, when you style it back, but you can't even see it. Pretty much, it seems like she gave me the thinnest highlights ever. And I do understand her technique, but okay, so before I go into that, I'll tell you the rest of the story. So the next day I messaged her because I was upset at the results. It doesn't look bad, but it's not what I wanted. And so I messaged her the next day. I messaged her saying, hey, I was looking at my color and I love the inner part, but the outer part is more of a warmer tone and a darker shade too. And she just said, hey there, we can tone it all to match, girl. I did what I could with the amount of time we had and wanting a way more blonde. I apologize you're not happy with the results. This is a process, so I would totally be willing to tone it to match for free. So if you guys don't know, toning will just either warm up your hair or cool it. It does not make it lighter. And because I didn't want my hair that warm, I was like I knew it wasn't gonna lighten up, but at least, you know, I wanted it cool. So I told her yes, and I went the next day. It wasn't for free because I still had to waste my time and gas to go. So yeah, that's something that she didn't take under consideration. So when I arrived, she seemed a little serious, and I pulled out my phone and I was like, so I actually wanted it like this, and I showed her again the picture. I will say I never saw her when she was doing her work. I never saw her look at the picture, and she had it all along. But I'm not saying she didn't see it before I went in, but while I was in there, while she was doing her work, I never saw her like look at it. And when I showed her, she straight up was like, no, I can't get you that light. And I was like, well, this is what I wanted. And I showed her the picture. She just got so, like I could see it in her face that she got upset with me, and just like she got more serious. Yeah, so she said, oh, I can't get you that light. And I told her, but you told me it would take 2 sessions. And she was like, you know, I was hopeful. I wish I could have told you 3, but I did what I could with the time I had. I didn't want to be mean about it, and I told her I wanted lighter hair at the bottom, and she told me it was again a process of coverage and lightening. And I told her, well, like my sister has done my hair and it takes her 1 session just to get it really light, like this light. And she was like, okay, like with that attitude, like she didn't want to listen to me. And I was like, oh my goodness, like, you know what, I'm not gonna be that person that argues with her. She doesn't want to listen. You know, I already paid her. I'm not gonna get the money back, so might as well just like get my hair cooled at least. But she just kept on saying like, maybe I'm just not your stylist. I have other people that I could recommend you to. Like her attitude was sort of like I don't care. Like I don't care if you didn't get your results. Oh, and then I did tell her there are other, and I specifically told her, I'm not saying you should do it, but I've seen that other stylists grab your hair and check the elasticity of it to see if it's still healthy enough to keep on lightening it while it has the bleach. And she just said, well, I'm going off of the 30 minutes that the bottle says, and I'm not gonna risk it. She just went against everything that I would tell her. She did not want to listen to anything. And so at that point I was like, you know what, like, it is what it is. I didn't get the look I wanted, and I'm not gonna fight with this person that literally doesn't care about her clients. So, you know, went through the whole toning process, and then I thanked her for her work. I told her I like that it's cool now, and you know, thank you, have a good day. So yeah, didn't get what I wanted, but and then she was like, but it doesn't look bad. Also, something that was extremely offensive and rude was the fact that when I did show her the picture too, she was like, I can't get you that light, and I'm not giving you a free lightning session, which I never asked for one, and I didn't want to go back to her because of the way she was acting. And then she was like, you know that, right? And I was like, I know, I clearly know the person you are now. Like, you're just not professional and you don't care about your clients. So why would I want to come back to you and get, you know, that done? Like, I'd rather go to someone else. And it was sort of like, well, I paid you for this. I didn't get anything done for free. It was her results. So but yeah, that was my experience, guys. Definitely ruined my whole salon experience, and hopefully my tips helped. If you haven't been to a salon, give it a thumbs up if it helped you, or if you enjoyed my horrible story. Well, this was it. Subscribe if you haven't subscribed. I'll see you in my next video. Bye.